Good morning everybody, welcome along to Adelaide Hills Pilates, and we're going to start today lying down on our mat, so just follow me and we'll be working on our spine mobility. So when you lie down onto your back with your legs bent, bring your feet into a hips distance apart and line up your heels with your sit bones, so you end up with about a fist distance between your knees. Turn your palms to the ceiling and lengthen your fingers away from your ears. Check in that your chin isn't jutting up to the ceiling like this, but allow the chin to soften into the throat and avoid jamming the chin into the chest, which will restrict your breathing. Pause here for a moment and allow your pelvis to surrender. Taking a long breath in through the nose. And on your exhale, draw the pelvic floor in and up. Close the ribs. Feel the waist narrowing and use those abdominals to tip your pelvis back. Start to wrap and squeeze the glutes into the back of the legs and peel your spine away from your mat. Come up into your bridge. Pause at the top, reaching the knees out over the toes. Continue to wrap and squeeze the glutes into the back of the legs to open the front of the hips, and check that you still have your shoulders grounded so you avoid coming up onto your neck. Take a breath in at the top. Breathing out, drawing the pelvic floor in and up, thinking of it coming right up underneath the ribs, closing the ribs and feeling the waist narrow. Soften your breastbone and use your core as you roll down from the top of the spine, one vertebra at a time. Release the pelvis at the bottom. Take a long breath in, feeling the tummy rise and imagining it rising like you would have a balloon there, inflating. Breathing out, and again engaging your core to use that to tilt your pelvis back. Feel the back of the waist coming in the mat. Wrap and squeeze the glutes into the back of the legs to help assist you to lift the pelvis up into space. Feel the support coming from the back of the pelvis, from the glutes and hamstrings. Check the knees haven't moved out to the sides like that. You've kept your knees in line with your hips and shoulders. Keep reaching the fingers away from the ears and lengthen through your crown as you inhale at the top. Breathing out, engage the core. Again, soften the breastbone and again rolling down from the top of the spine, one bone at a time. You could imagine you're bringing down your spine one bone at a time, a little bit like you would press stud down each vertebra. Release at the bottom and take a breath in. Breathing out, engage the core, tilt the pelvis back. Use the wrap and squeeze of the glutes as you peel your spine away from the mat. Reaching the knees out over the toes. Now check in with your feet. You still have a connection through the tripods, big toe knuckle, little toe knuckle and middle of the heel. Let's add our arm arc. Take your breath in as the arms come up, palms face into the middle of the room. Pause here and allow the bones of the arms to drop down into the shoulders to connect into the muscles at the back of the armpits. The arms will arc back. Breath in and exhale, engage the core. Again, rolling down from the top of the spine, but leaving the arms back here as you roll down, bringing the pelvis down as evenly as you can. Since you now don't have the arms to assist you. At the bottom, release and let the arms come down, palms to the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, engage the core, tilting the pelvis back, curling the tailbone to the back of the knees, peeling up into the spine. Feel the shoulders grounded as you inhale to arc the arms back. Keep the shoulder blades on the mat. So avoid your shoulders coming to your ears. Exhale, engage your core. And coming down one bone at a time from the top of the spine and releasing at the bottom. One more. Long breath in. Exhale, engage the core. Curl the tailbone to the back of the knees. Keep reaching your fingers away from your ears while your crown reaches oppositionally. Knees out over the toes. Keep a connection to the tripods of the feet. Now inhale, take the arms back. Exhale, engage the core. As you roll down, reach through your little fingers. Reach through your crown. So really lengthen your spine down along the mat. Good. At the bottom, release. Bring the arms over. Pull one knee in a time. Let the legs relax into the hands and guide with your hands your knees and do 3 circles each way. Just massaging out your lower back. Allow one foot at a time to come back down onto the mat. Interlace the fingers. Slide the hands under the back of the head for your chest lift. Again, allow the pelvis to surrender. And think of the back of the pelvis, right and left side, a little bit like scales, where you want to keep even weight under the back of the right and left hip. Elbows are lifted, enough to be able to see them out of your peripheral vision and to create like a hammock for your head to be supported in. Take a breath in. Again, on the exhale, engage the core. Now soften the breastbone so you can now curl up through head, neck and shoulders and bring your gaze out over the top of your knees. Check in that you're keeping the back of the pelvis grounded. Pause here and float up your right leg to 90-90. So the right femur bone is vertical and the right shin is parallel to the floor. As you inhale, lower the right foot and the head together. Feel the head heavy in the hands so that you're using your abdominals as you slowly come down. Breath in. On the exhale, engage the core and come into the chest lift and add the left leg floating up. As you inhale, slowly lower the head and foot together. Breath out, engage the core, soften the breastbone, and as you curl up and float the right leg, connect into the muscles at the back of the armpits so that you take your shoulder blades into a V to help assist you in your chest lift. And then inhale to lower. Exhale, chest lift, left leg floating up. Think of the left thigh bone dropping down into the socket. So think of the bones have been heavy, but the leg has been light. And then breathe in to come down. So one more on each side. As you exhale, initiate the chest lift first, then the leg float. You want your right femur bone to be moving in your hip joint. Breathe in to lower down. A little bit like you could imagine a greased ball moving in a joint. So the hip joint being the hip and socket joint. Feel that movement of the leg lifting and lowering is coming from the hip joint. So release here, hug the knees into the chest. Take a stretch by reaching the arms and legs back. Good, and then you could bring the arms up to do your roll up. So heels together, make a little V, draw the back of the ribs in the mat and connect through the back of the armpits. Breath in. As you exhale, the arms pull down. You soften the breastbone, you do your chest lift. If you need to, you grab the legs and assist yourself to come up into seated, into a spine stretch. The waist pulls back, the fingertips reach forward, the fingers are at shoulder height, gaze into the belly button. Breathe in and sit tall. Let's take the feet out as wide as the mat. Check in that you've got neutral pelvis. Bring the arms back to zombie arms. As you inhale, lift up from your pubic bone, take your crown to the ceiling, chin to chest, and close the front of the ribs in as you draw the belly button back into the spine to curve your upper back. As you inhale and lift the gaze up, bring the arms up and circle them back around. And then exhale, spine stretch. And then inhale, lift again, ribs out of the pelvis. Good, last two. Exhale, as you come into the spine stretch, lift from underneath the ribs and imagine you have to take yourself over a beach ball. One more. Inhale, lift, circle, one more. Exhale, curve the upper back, lengthen yourself up and over, and then inhale, lift the ribs out of the pelvis, circle the arms around. Allow your arms to float up to shoulder height, avoiding the shoulders coming to the ears. Take an inhale again to lift up from the pubic bone, lifting the ribs out of the pelvis, taking the crown to the ceiling. As you exhale, rotate to the right, bring the left arm across. As you glide forward, anchor down your left hip. As you inhale, lift up through the center, rotate the ribs and head and glide forward. Anchor the right hip, breathing in to lift and rotate. Look to the back hand and see if you can take it up to the ceiling. Breathing in, lift, rotate. And as you glide forward, press out through your left foot. Breathe in, exhale. And then as you glide forward on the right side, press through the right hip. So you avoid any shifting through the pelvis like that. Last 4. Exhale, anchor your right hip. Breathe in, lift, open the collarbones, check the shoulders, and see if you've got a little bit more rotation before you glide forward. Last one on each side. Breath in, exhale, pressing out through the left foot as you glide forward on the left side, and last one each side. Breathing out. Breathing in, growing tall. Good, bring the hands behind, bring the feet onto the mat for your table, and when you exhale, press into the feet, reach the knees out over the toes, and wrap into the back of the legs again by squeezing the glutes to open the front of the hips, pushing the floor away, and hold 5 and 4, 3 and 2 and 1. Lower down. Good. Bring yourself around onto your tummies. Bring your arms out for Sphinx with the arms at stick 'em up position. The legs into frog, knees out wide, heels together, feet apart like Charlie Chaplin feet. Check that elbows are in line with the shoulders or below rather than having them up higher. And as you look down, take an inhale to lengthen through the crown. Exhale, draw the pelvic floor in and up, right in underneath your ribs. And as you wrap and squeeze the glutes, press the heels together to bring your gaze forward and up, chest forward and up to Sphinx. Inhale, lower, relax and recover. Exhale, engage the core. And then as you bring your gaze forward, draw your head out of your shoulders, a little bit like you would imagine a turtle's head coming out of his shell. Breathing in, lower, relax, recover. Exhale, come into your Sphinx, lengthening your spine, taking your ribs out of your pelvis and pressing through the pinky side of your finger. Breathe in, lower, relax and recover. Keep squeezing the heels together to keep the glutes on to help open through the front of your hips for your hip extension. Breathe in to lower. Exhale, think of the lengthening of the head out of the shoulders, the grounding of the pelvis, and not coming up too high that you feel you've hinged into your lower back. Breathe in, lower. One more. Keep pressing through the pinky side of the finger as you exhale and come forward and up to your Sphinx to help engage the muscles at the back of the armpits to bring the shoulder blades into a V. Good, and then let the legs lengthen down the mat, leaving the arms where they are, feet are hips distance apart, into swan. So check in, the pubic bone is still on the mat to maintain that neutral pelvis. Wide across the collarbones, like a big smile. Inhale, exhale, again engage your core and wrap and squeeze the glutes into the back of the legs. Come to Sphinx and hold. Press to the pinky side of the finger, start to straighten the arms, but only straighten your arms if you don't feel it in the lower back. Look ahead to breathe in, and then exhale, engage the core as you roll back down through the front of the body, one vertebra at a time. Release at the bottom to breathe in, and again, exhale. Engage the muscles at the back of the armpits to open across the front of the shoulders to bring the chest through. Look ahead at the top, and as you come down, avoid the elbows doing this. So you want to bring the elbows in towards each other to use your upper back rather than your shoulders. And again, exhale, lengthening the head out of the shoulders, bringing the gaze forward and up, and pressing through the front of the hips to open the front of the hips. As you exhale, start to bring your chest through your arms or have that intention so you lengthen the spine up the mat. Last two. Exhale, peeling up. Breath in at the top. And exhale, peeling down. One more. Exhale, peeling up. Checking that you're engaging the upper back to help lift. Keep pressing through that pinky side of the finger. The tummy stays lifted to avoid any dipping in the back of the waist. Release at the bottom. Push up to your child pose. Knees together, feet together, arms straight or bent. 3 breaths here. Breathing into the back of the ribs. Exhale, releasing. Breathing into the back of the waist. Exhale, releasing. One more, breathing into the sacrum. And exhale, releasing. Thank you for joining me today.